Okay, special right triangles, 45, 45, 90, and the equilateral cut in half turns out to be a 30, 60, 90. In the previous video in class, we discovered we don't have to do all this math. There's a shortcut. Okay, multiply one way, divide the other. 45, 45, 90. 30, 60, 90 is a little bit more tricky. Multiply one way, multiply the other way, divide and divide. Okay, so now let's just do the practice. We're going to continue this next week, so there's no hurry. And the idea is we don't want to have to do all the math. Okay, we want to know if there's a shortcut. So on this first one, 2. Well, 45, 45, 90, it's a square. If it's a square, this has to be a 2. 2, 2. Then multiply to go to the hypotenuse. Multiply to go to the hypotenuse. So let's grab our little cheat sheet here. Copy. Paste. Okay. So multiply to go one way, divide to go to the other. So the answer has to be 2 radical 2. And if you wanted, you could do the math, right? Where could we just 2 squared plus 2 squared equals the hypotenuse squared. Remember, this is called the hypotenuse out here. All right? And the hypotenuse is always across from the 90. All right? Look at the next one. Pause the video if you need to. Welcome back. Square. If it's a square, 6 and 6. Okay, what's the rule state? Multiply. Multiply to go to the hypotenuse. Multiply to go to the hypotenuse. 6 radical 2. All right? Now, what if we have the hypotenuse and we want to come back? How do we come back? What's the opposite of multiply? Awesome. Remember, that's a rule in math. Plus, minus, multiply, divide, squared, square root. Okay? So, how do we divide out radical 2? 4 over radical 2 divided by radical 2. Anything divided by itself is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. 4, it's a square. So this is a 4. Try it. Grab a calculator. 4. 4 radical 2 on the outside and divide by radical 2. Anything divided by itself is 1. Okay? All right. Pause the video. You try. All right, welcome back. This is the hypotenuse. So when we go from the hypotenuse back to the leg, divide 7 over radical 2, 7 over radical 2. All right, good job. Now, we're going to try 30, 60, 90s. In the 30, 60, 90s, it's not quite as simple because the legs aren't the same. Okay, so let's try this. First thing I'd like you to do is get in the habit of labeling short leg, long leg. Okay, short leg, long leg. And since we're at it, let's label the hypotenuse. Okay, short leg, long leg, hypotenuse. Short leg, long leg, hypotenuse. Alright, now, we discovered from the short leg to the long leg, we multiply by radical 3. Multiply by radical 3. The hypotenuse is double. Okay? So in this first one, we multiply by radical 3. It's just 5 square root 3. But when we go to the long leg, we double. Okay? Now I'm going to pause. I want you to try the next one. What do we get when we go to the long leg? What do we get when we go to the hypotenuse? Welcome back. Alright, so 6 times radical 3, double. The reason we're memorizing these special right triangles is to speed us up. We don't want to have to spend all of our time doing all this math every time. And we do a lot of special right triangles the next couple of years in math. Okay? Alright. Now, let's go a little bit further here. Okay? What if we have the long leg? Okay, so take a minute and label. Long leg, short leg, hypotenuse. Long leg, short leg, hypotenuse. Okay? Now if we multiply one way, how do we undo a multiplication? How do we undo a multiplication? Divide. Divide by radical 3. Just divide it out. So this one is going to be 4 radical 3 over radical 3. And radical 3 divided by radical 3 is 1, so we have a 4. Now, from the short leg to the hypotenuse, we double. Short leg to the hypotenuse, double. Okay? Now pause the video and look at number 7. Follow our rules. We multiply one way, how do we come back? Multiply one way, how do we come back? Okay? We're given the hypotenuse, how do we come back? We're given the hypotenuse, how do we come back? Good. Half. Half. So we're going to divide. Okay. So in this case, divide by 2. So this is going to be 2 over 2, which is 1. Then we multiply, we have 1 radical 3. Okay, thanks for working through these. The key was, can we identify a relationship and not have to do all that math, Pythagoras, over and over and over? Okay, so special right triangles, the 30, 60, 90, and the 45, 45, 90. I want you to make sure you put it in your notes. Okay? When do we multiply? When do we multiply? When do we multiply? When do we multiply? But when do we divide? Divide. divide, divide. Okay? All right. Thank you. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week when we study these radicals. What are the rules of the square root in the radical? Bye.